I was born in Calcutta, and right beside my home in Calcutta, almost like 500 meters away from my place, there's a very beautiful, very old, and very mysterious Kali Mandir. So whenever I would go to school every day and come back, I would go through walking past her. And for some reason or the other, she chose me to always visit her in the temple. And as a kid, as you already know, it's kind of funny to go and ask in the temple for pass me the exam and, things like that. So that's how it all started. The east of India is very primarily focused on Shakti. If you see one of the most powerful temples, Dakshineshwar Kali, because of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahams and Swami Vivekananda, Kali Ghat, which is an extremely powerful Shakti Peeth, one of the Shakti Peeths in India. Then there is Ma Tara, which is Tarapith, which is in Birbhum district in Bengal. A lot of extraordinary Tantrics have been emerging from Bengal over the last like 500 years. For example, you have Sri Bama Kepa from Tarapith. And so if you think about Sage Vashisht and all of that, when he wanted to get, initiated into Ma Tara and he wanted to see, so it was from that path that he actually understood, Tara Mahavidya, and then brought it back to Bengal. So Bengal, all throughout Calcutta primarily and Birbhum district in Bengal, has been a kind of an epicenter for Shakta worship. Over that, let's not forget that just 30 minutes flight from Calcutta is Guwahati. And then it's Ma Kamakhya, and all the 10 Mahavidyas are there, and that is an absolute powerhouse. My family has faith, but not much into bhakti, or not much into mantra. I think the difference for me in my family and among my friends, everybody had devotion because they feared Mother Divine. I had devotion because I loved Mother Divine. So I came from a place of I am a nobody, and I'm really typically a spoiled brat. So it is only you who can show me the way forward and make and help me make something out of myself, as someone on this planet. So in terms of there's this place in Calcutta, a location which is called Southern Avenue. It's a beautiful place. There's a fabulous lake and full of trees, and there is a small temple called Lake Kalibari. Right, so it is Kalima's Mandir around the lake. So it's called Lake Kalibari, and a beautiful mandir. And I would go there on Tuesdays and Saturdays, and while I would go and offer nariyal and lemon and nimbu and java fool is what we call it, red hibiscus flower, as part of the offerings, there would be a pandit there, I still remember, who would sit and chant. I didn't realize it then, I realized it later. He would sit and chant the Chandi part, right? Very, very furiously, with a lot of energy. And there was a kind of a very mysterious energy that came from those chants. It would be kind of a little unforgettable. You're very attuned, mesmerized, attracted. And on top of that, there would be the Havan as well, and there would be Yagya as well. So I would start going and actually, sitting with the Panditji behind and start listening to those mantras. And that's how I got very, very interested in how does this actually work. And well, fortunately or unfortunately, they don't reveal much, and then there is not just any kind of a book you can pick up from the library to read about it. But that is how I kind of, just through listening, I kind of got very, very mesmerized by that. And that took me on, very, very keen on getting a little bit more deeper understanding. I know there is this stigma around East Bengal and especially East India. A lot of people might have heard about Mayong village and things like that. And, there's a lot of talk around black magic and Kala Jadoo, and what we call it as Abhichara, right? Which is a use of certain powers that can probably change the course of destiny of someone's life, or maybe alter the course of action in terms of how things are. There are two things to it. Now, since I was a kid and I stayed in Bengal for a very, very long time, let me be very honest. There is tantric practices that is very attuned to the Tantric Shastras. For example, there are extraordinary people who have been following the Mahavidyas or have been following the right way of, seeking devotion or blessings from Mother Divine. That is one part. Now that part is 1%. 99% of the people have desires. And if nothing goes according to plan, which more often than not is nothing but a consequence of their own actions. Nothing more. Sometimes things don't work because you have taken a wrong decision. So you step back, you change your decision, and then it's going to work. But there's something in psychology that human beings for the last 5,000 years have been the same. It's self-interest and least effort. If I can get everything what I want without putting any effort to it, and if there is a shortcut to get to it, then I'm going to explore that path. That has always been one way of thinking. Unfortunately, because of these saints, how they were, most of them were Naga sadhus, most of them were aghoris, and they would actually come and sit in cremation grounds and they would do their sadhana. Like whatever sadhana that they have been told to do by their guru. And people mistook that as they are having spiritual powers and they can change my life and I can do that and I can make that happen because in return I can pay money. Right? I can promise you, I have never heard a very elevated aghori or a tantric doing anything for you because in return you're going to give him money. In fact, it is going to be opposite. You're going to get really scolded by him, right? Because you're exploring such purity that has been given by the very words of Mahadev, applying that, which is called prayoga, applying that in achieving your own materialistic desires. I have traveled, seen cremation grounds. Ma Tara, Tarapith is on a cremation ground, by the way. And behind Kali Ghat in Calcutta is a cremation ground and the extraordinary people who come there. But none of them do these kind of practices. What they do is they can guide you how to, for example, do a particular yagna or which, kind of temple to go to offer your prayers and let Mother Divine hear you and solve that problem for you. The black magic has come because there are some people who have been able to have some low, some siddhis with low entity beings. Very, very low entity beings, for example, some kind of a spirits or something of that sort. And they are creating this entire narrative कि तंत्र जो है ये आपका समस्या का समाधान कर सकता है, which is not true at all. समस्या का समाधान आपकी भक्ति कर सकती है, आपका मंत्र साधना कर सकता है, आपका डिवोशन कर सकता है, but I don't believe for a second, and I haven't seen it, that just a person by applying black magic can solve your entire legal problems or your financial problems and can make you a crorepati overnight. I think that is complete hogwash. The path of Tantra is actually from Calcutta, from the ones who I knew, and I've been very fortunate by people who have guided me, that it is so pure that even if you have Ma's kripa and even if you have the blessings of Ma, it'll be impossible for you to even apply that kind of blessings for something that is wrong. The application of that can be right. For example, saving a kid's life or, maybe helping out a poor person or somebody really in trouble. And that also is not because of you. It's because Ma has decided that you are the vessel to do that on behalf of her. It's her a power that is doing it, which we misconstrue as we have that siddhi. I don't subscribe to the word siddhi. I say it is kripa. उनकी कृपा से ये हो रहा है, मेरे पास कोई सिद्धि नहीं है. I am a nobody. I'm just an empty vessel doing whatever Ma commands us to do. But not necessarily that you can do that and call it black magic.
नागा बाबा ने कहा, देखो बेटा, झूठ की भी एक हद होती है. झूठ की भी एक हद होती है. तो यदि एक बार किसी ने इस पर विश्वास कर लिया कि मेरे आसपास नकारात्मक ऊर्जा है, नेगेटिव एनर्जी है, तो उस व्यक्ति को कोई विश्वास नहीं दिला सकता कि आपके आसपास नेगेटिव एनर्जी नहीं है। जब तक वो 4 उपाय ना कर ले, 4 तांत्रिक हो जा, पंडित इत्यादि के पास चला ना जाए, उड़द की दाल शमशान में जाकर चढ़ाना आए, चलते हुए पानी में कुछ बहा ना दे, या 4 जप ना कर ले, ध्यान ना कर ले, उसको लगता है जो जो उसके जीवन में विपरीत हो रहा है, जो जो नहीं ठीक हो रहा है, वो सब कुछ इसलिए हो रहा है कि आसपास कुछ ऐसा हो गया है। अब ये बड़ी दुर्भाग्य वाली बात है, क्योंकि उसका वास्तव में ही कोई इलाज नहीं है। सत्य बोलकर आप उस व्यक्ति को ठीक नहीं कर सकते, उस व्यक्ति को झूठ ही बोलना पड़ेगा कि हाँ जी आप ये कर लीजिए, आप वो कर लीजिए। तो जो अपनी साधना, आराधना, पूजा कर रहा है, जो अपने नित्य कर्म में स्थित है, उसके लिए प्रत्येक पूजा कवच है। उसके लिए प्रत्येक जपा हुआ मंत्र जो है कवच है। कुछ उसको चिंता करने की बात ही नहीं। सखा धर्म में असरथ जाके, जीतन कतहूं कहूं रिपु नहीं थाके।
So, when I was in the ashram, I heard that the Guruji is going to launch something, and I was very excited. More often than not, I would think it would be a book. Because Guruji loves writing books and penning his thoughts in a very eloquent and a very simple way for us to understand, but still keeping us inspired and motivating to continue on the path. And I clearly remember this line when I first reading 13 Months in the Himalayas, the first chapter, the first paragraph. It was like that we have this spark all inside us, right? The most important thing is to keep that spark alive and keep moving. And I think it really hits the nail on the head. The essence of everything is to keeping the spark alive. And I was hoping that it'll be a book, or it'll be something like a new kind of a sadhana in the ashram, that most probably maybe an initiation into Sri Vidya, for example. And then I attended the live session, and that is where I got completely surprised that this is a Tantra Sadhana app on something which has been locked. Those mysteries of Mahavidyas has been locked to us, right? And to have an access to an app which is first of all energized by Swamiji himself, and to demystify the esoteric practices in the tantric world, in the tantric shastras, I think that was a pleasant surprise. I clearly did not see that coming. So I kind of started experiencing it, and of course we were first introduced to the Mahakali realm, and I have to say, I don't think in the last 1 year, in the last year or so, that I've been doing sadhanas on the app. First of all, it's not an app. The medium might be an app, but it is not an app. And I think some of us may agree that the experience that you get from the realms, whether it is Ma Kali or Ma Tara or Ma Tripur Sundari, Ma Bhuvaneshwari, so on and so forth, once you're in that realm, you'll begin to understand that this is purely the way to think about it is, there is imagine that there is a red phone booth. Let's imagine there's a red phone booth, and on the other side there's a phone, and on the other side there's a personal assistant. The personal assistant happens to be the right hand of Ma Kali. Let's assume it that way. Now previously, we would not have access to the phone booth. because there is a complete wall around it and you don't have access to it. Now, you have access to pick up the phone. And you know that on the other side, there is somebody who's going to pick up the phone too. Now, as it happens, Ma Kali is very busy. Her calendar is full. She has got a lot of meetings. She probably has to, attend to other more important things in the cosmic universe. But at least I can always request the PA, can you please take in a token of request on my behalf? Isn't it far more better than not having access to the phone booth in the first place? I see the app as the phone booth and the sadhanas in the app as the request that you're putting into a register. And at some point of time, Mother Divine's calendar may just open up for you. And she is going to take call, and she's going to take a call on your request, and she may just say, okay, let's pen down him on this calendar today with a meeting with him. The approach to it, the experience of the entire realm is how we dreamed it would be, but we would never have thought that it could actually be put into such practice. So I don't see the app as an app. I see an app as an external manifestation of the realm that we want to be. Not physically, not from a sthula sharir, but sukshma sharir ke hisab se, if you think about it, how do we want to, be that sadhak who's sitting and doing these sadhanas, these yagnas, and also, of course, the Shav Sadhana and the Smashan Sadhana and the Sri Yantra Sadhana, which is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, so that's how I think about the Tantra Sadhana app. And there are a lot more things that get revealed into the app. Depends upon the purity of your devotion. That is a direct correlation to the intensity of the experience. If you see it as just an app, then perhaps that is what you will experience. But if you see it like a call to the divine, a direct connection, heart to heart with the divine, then that is what you're actually going to experience while you're doing the sadhanas and the japa and the yagnas in the app. So I think this is very this is very advanced. Because as Swamiji always used to say, Bahir mukha sudurlabha antar mukha samaradhya. Right? So to have that ability to sacrifice yourself, your ego, your ahankar, and to do that in such a way that is very, very powerful from an internal compass. Like, for example, before Tantra Sadhana app, although I would do some small kind of japa and all of that, and after Guruji's recommended sadhanas, there are very subtle things that can change. They cannot be as cut and dry, black and white as I did sadhana and then I won a lottery. The idea of the experience that I have felt through Tantra Sadhana app is, agar, for example, you want to be successful in something, maybe it's the material world, maybe it's the spiritual world. But let me take material one for a second, because that's a little bit more easier to understand. Let's say, for example, you want to get a deal, or you're looking for a big promotion. It's not that give me the promotion. The Sadhana app has a way of saying that you can, with Swamiji, you have the latent energy, the creative energy to remove the badhak to achieve what you want. Now that depends upon the sincerity of your devotion and intensity of your practice. The more you see it as you are there in that samshan and you're literally, calling out to Ma, once you start understanding that, those bottlenecks start getting removed from you magically. I don't know how it happens, but it just does. So that's the way I think about it. That's the way I see. I don't consider it as an app. I consider it as an internal journey in one person's spiritual path. This is a tool to accelerate that journey, to quicken your understanding of this path and start experiencing your truth. In Mahakali realm, because that's the first experience that one is going to get, the most important takeaway for me from Mahakali realm is that it sets you up. It trains you what is going to come, right? So, for example, our minds are very distracted. Our attention span is as much as a goldfish. But the Mahakali realm will start making you understand that there is a certain level of discipline to this. For example, the way it is set up is exactly how the the rishis and the saints would do, which is that you have discipline in terms of japa for a certain amount of time in certain times. Swamiji has been very kind, because we can do a mala a day and but I think that once you get into the groove, once you start, again, that's an internal call, based on your devotion, you will start doing more malas, actually, right? Your intensity will start increasing, and that is what I think the Mahakali realm prepares you for, because each and every, the process of doing it is very, very clear. So you get into that mode first. I think that is important. Call it like a probation period, in a company, where for the first 3 months there is certain understanding and foundational blocks that you need to build. And that is where you start really truly understanding the beautiful mantras and the way to actually do yagna. And of course, it can be a little unsettling, because for the first time, you're projecting your own consciousness into a body with Shav sadhana, right? And that intensity can set you up for opening up your mind to newer possibilities. So I think the Mahakali realm actually kind of prepares you. And then finally, it kind of moves into Matara realm, which is even more interesting, because we have heard about Samshan sadhana so many times. We have even seen cremation grounds, right? And we never had this understanding of what they're doing there, right? And this was very interesting, because the way the Samshan sadhana was set was not only in doing the sadhana, but out of nowhere being pleasantly surprised when you see a lion walking in. And then you see another animal walking in, and then you start connecting not only with the divine, but with all the living beings that are nothing but the form of the divine. You have a newfound appreciation for, let's say, cats, or for any other kind of animals, because you start realizing internally that Mother Divine dwells in every living being, and that's a kind of a connection. Ma Tripur Sundari realm, I think, is by far, for me personally, as one of the most intense sadhanas. It's like a panchayat. Now, not a panchayat, but rather I would say it's like the entire parliament. Previously, we would go to one panchayat and another panchayat, and go from one deity to another deity. Imagine if you can go and address to all the deities sitting, all the ministers, and all the powerful supreme beings sitting in one single place in a parliament, and you're the person who's there addressing to everybody. That was my experience by looking at the Sri Yantra sadhana, because everyone is addressed there. So you are doing that sadhana from that kind of a bhav, where it's not about Mahakali or Ma Tara or Ma Bhuvaneshwari or Ma Saraswati. All of their forms are in that parliament. And now you have this opportunity to offer your obeisances and seek their blessings. So I felt that the Ma Tripur Sundari sadhana is perhaps the most intense. The yagnas also are pretty intense, and the experience of that is unexplainable to put into words. I think everybody would experience their own truth once they do, Ma Tripur Sundari sadhana. I think it's extraordinary.